The film begins with a little girl named Penny, who is inside a pet store. Penny admires a little white dog that plays with a carrot, so she decides to buy him and put a collar on him with his new name Bolt written on it. 5 years later, she answers Benny on the phone, and finds her father talking to her, and he is afraid, and tells her that there is a problem with her work and she can't go home, and he tells her that Bolt can protect her because he worked on experiments and he has super strength, so she takes Benny the dog Bolt and goes and watches the company from afar with a magnifying glass and watches a video of a person named Dr. Cock holding her father and asks him to confess, but Benny's father refuses. He confesses and that makes Calic angry and he asks one of his men to go and get something that makes the doctor confess. Benny walks behind that person until the person disappears in front of her, and suddenly a car appears and tries to kidnap Penny, but Bolt hits the car quickly and it turns over as soon as she touches it. After that he grabs it and they stop on the bridge, and Penny asks the person about the place where Dr. Calc kidnapped her father, so the driver gets scared and confesses to him that he is in Bolivia, and Benny quickly escapes on scooters, she and Bolt, from the planes and motorcycles that Calic sent to chase them in order to kidnap her, and Bolt uses his superpower to defeat Calico's followers and save Benny, but Calico's followers remain very large in number and they can surround them, so Bolt uses his super bark and destroys them all. And when Benny and Bolt enter their car, it turns out that all of this is just an act of filming a series, and the director begins to review the scenes and gets angry when he discovers that there is a microphone visible in the picture, and he explains to his assistants that he does not like to reshoot the dog scenes because the dog believes that he has really superpowers, and if he finds out the truth, his performance will not be good, and the audience will not like the dog's acting, and the production manager intervenes and tells him all that matters to her is that people do not change the channel and keep watching the series, whatever the method, otherwise she will reject it. And in the dressing room, Penny thanks her dog, Bolt, who believes that he has superpowers. She puts food for him, plays with him a little, hugs him, goes out of the room, and tries to convince her mother and her business manager to take the dog home with her. But her business manager refuses because the dog may discover that he does not have superpowers, and they leave the place. They go and 2 cats appear, talking about Bolt, and saying that he never leaves the place of filming, and they watch him from the roof hatch and tell him that one day they will reach his owner, Benny, and they will defeat him, but Bolt tells them that they chose the path of evil that will destroy them in the end, so a cat tells him that the man who appointed him green has a plan and he will implement it. He will kill Benny and let him walk. Benny will come back to film new scenes with Bolt under the supervision of the director, who remains focused on all the details. At the end of the filming, Dr. Calico appears with his green eyes and with his cat. He kidnaps Benny and the scene ends. The director says the production manager is leaving the end of the series open-ended in order to make another part, and at this time Penny runs to Bolt after they put him in the box to tell him that she is fine, but her business manager prevents her and tells her that the dog must think that she is in danger and that he has been kidnapped for filming. The sunroof runs away from the place and comes to the filming location, and when he hears Benny's voice calling for help, he tries to reach the source of the sound. The one who is from the montage room tries to get out of the window, but he crashes into the glass and falls into the box and loses consciousness. A worker comes and locks the box and puts it in the freight car that takes it to the warehouse in the street. Bolt escapes as soon as the worker opens the box and he runs quickly in the street. He notices a man sitting reading a newspaper, thinking he is Dr. Calicon, and he runs quickly and tries to destroy the wire with his super strength, but he can't. He is surprised by what happened and enters through a hole. When he approaches the man, he finds another person running quickly in the street, and he is afraid until his head gets stuck in the wall, and a small dove stands in front of him and calls. Then Bolt asks the pigeons if they know the man with the green eye, but they say that they do not know the person and that Bolt's appearance is familiar to them, and the pigeon tries to remember where it saw him before, and suddenly a bus stops with an advertisement for the Bolt series and a picture of him, and yet what is the pigeon? You don't remember who he is, and he asks Bolt if they know any cat to ask about the man with the green eye, and he decides to take him for a cat they know, and we see the cat Mittens bringing her a pigeon and offering her the food she collected all day, and Mittens tells the pigeon that the food she brought is not enough, and that when she gets hungry, she eats anything in front of her, and suddenly Bolt attacks her and asks her about Benny's place, and when she tries to understand, and she does not know what he is talking about, the pigeons take advantage of the opportunity and tell Bolt that she is the one who knows the place of the man with the green eye because she is her. You take food from them, and Bolt catches the cat from the top of the bridge and he threatens to kill her if she doesn't tell him where Benny is. Mittens asks Bolt to take her down while she is talking. Bolt tied her with a rope around his collar, and then the cat takes him to the garbage collector and takes out a game map from him, and they understand that it is a map of the whole world and shows him their place on the map, and tells him that he is its chief with the green eye, kidnapping Benny in Hollywood, and when Mittens asks Bolt to unlock it, he refuses and tells her that she must reach Benny first. Bolt goes to a car that says Hollywood Studios, but he finds it locked, and when he tries to use a laser to unlock the lock, he is surprised that the lock has not been affected, and he exploits that there are two people moving house furniture to the car, so he and the cat hide under the sofa. They manage to get into the car that takes them and they leave and go back to Benny, who is very sad. On the loss of Bolt, her business manager enters and tells her that he has a surprise for her. She makes Benny happy because she thinks he has found Bolt, but he tells her that he has prepared a TV interview for her. He says that it is secret information that provokes him, and she says that he does not have any superpowers, and as soon as it falls on Bolt, the substance that people use to transport house furniture, he jumps out of the car, and when his hand bleeds, he thinks that the substance is what weakens him. Mittens grabs a piece of the substance and threatens him, but Bolt criticizes her and asks her not to do that, and then they go to a camping area, and Mittens tells him that eating is the antidote in order to be treated and exercised to gain people's. In order to serve him food, Bolt succeeds in the test, and starts knocking on all the people, gaining their sympathy, and collecting a lot of food, until they reach a car in which an old woman lives, who has a Mr. Rhino. When he sees Bolt, he gets very happy and tells him that he is his favorite hero on TV, and he prefers Ryan to talk about Bolt's superpower. And that makes Bolt surprised because no one is supposed to see. And when they ask about Benny, they say that she is kidnapped, and Rhino decides that he helps him in order to save her and take them to jump off the bridge on the trains that run under them. The train and Mittens almost fall from the sides. Bolt intervenes and helps her, and when Bolt almost falls, Mittens tries to help him, but Rhino thinks that she is falling and arrests her quickly so that they can be saved, and the three fall from the train. After that, Mittens tries to tell Bolt that he is the hero of a TV series, and all he does is acting, that is, he does not have superpowers or anything, and this is proven to him because his strength did not work from the time he went outside the filming location, but he refuses her words and is sad and tries to show his strength, but fails every time and the cat mocks him, and suddenly the animal control forces arrive and they arrest Bolt and Mittens, and when they see he sees what happened, decides to go help them, and we go back to Benny, who enters her. Her business manager has a new dog who looks like Bolt. But she knows that this is not the real Bolt and that he is lying to her. The production manager enters and tells Benny that stopping filming will cause a lot of problems, and asks her to forget the Bolt and go back to filming again. At the same time, Bolt is trying to get out of the car in which he was locked up with the cat, and he reaches Rhino to the car and tries to open the door at the same moment that Bolt is trying to use his strength. And when the door opens, Bolt and Rhino fall out of the car, and Bolt is very happy and thinks that his strength has returned, but he discovers that Rhino is the one who opened the door, and he feels sad when he discovers that he is an ordinary dog that does not have any superpowers, and Ryan encourages him and reminds him of the things he accomplished in the series, and Bolt decides to save Mittens with the help of Rhino. I did not hear a strange sound, and Bolt goes to Mittens in order to save her, and the cat does not believe that he came back for her and opens the door for him, and they go and take Ryan and run away, but the policeman sees them and starts chasing them, and they succeed in escaping from him after he causes a fire in the place, and when they meet a truck in the street, they enter it in order to escape, and Bolt tells Mittens that he is convinced that he does not have any superpowers, and Mittens says that it is better for him to be an ordinary dog because this is a beautiful thing, and they all play together. She surprises Bolt with a house she made for theme, and they look at him and she is very excited, but Bolt surprises her and tells her that he must return to Benny, so Mittens takes him to the advertisement for the series and tells him that Benny does not love him and that she is acting on him, but Bolt remains refusing her words and says that he will return to her no matter what happens, and she is saddened to remember her story with friends of hers, and she asks Bolt to leave her alone and go, and he is sad, and when Reno asks Meeting about Bolt's whereabouts, she tells him that he went to fight the man who has green eyes alone, and Ryan says that he is going to help him because Bolt taught him not to leave his friend in danger alone, and Bolt goes to Hollywood, and there he meets the pigeons. One of his fans asks them to help find Benny, and he agrees with the pigeons. He arrives at the studio that was filming in the series, and at the same time, Mittens and Rhino arrive in Hollywood and go to the filming location. And Bolt enters his dressing room, and when he hears Benny's voice and sees her, he runs to her in order to hug her, but he is surprised when he finds her hugging another dog that resembles him, and he is affected by the scene, and he remembers Mittens' words, and he goes while he is sad because he does not know that this is an act. And when the scene ends, Benny hugs her mother, and she is sad because she misses the real Bolt what happened to Mittens, so she decides to tell Bolt, and a new scene starts from the series, and we watch Kayla hanging Benny with a rope, and Bolt enters in order to save her, But the dog who plays the role of Bolt is afraid to run and cause the place to burn, and Mittens goes to Bolt and tells him that she saw him and that Benny loves him very much and misses him. Suddenly, Bolt hears the sound of the fire, and he runs quickly, Mittens and Rhino, and Bolt succeeds, as he enters the scene of the fire at the last moment. And he keeps looking for Benny, who is happy. When you see him and go to him and hug him and they try to run away from the place and you hold Benny in a rope and go after Bolt until they reach the ventilation hole. But Penny expects and she cannot move, and she hugs Bolt, who refuses to abandon her, and Bolt barks loudly at the ventilation holes, and everyone hears a voice, and the firefighters enter and save them, and she goes to her mother to check on her in the ambulance, and when Penny's business manager enters, her mother hits him and tells him that he is fired and decides that you adopt Bolt, Mittens, and Renault, and you take them with me, and they all play in the garden and live together. In the end, if you like the video, do not forget to support us with a like and subscription.